We're not a cult. We're not a cult. Let me tell you about the following program. It's just a gathering of like-minded individuals seeking greater personal growth, community, unity, learning, thinking. We're not a cult type of cult. No Kool-Aid, no spaceships, no mandatory tracksuits, no squirrel mutilations, no sacrificing goats, mild farm work, no throwing virgins into volcanoes, no shucking of clothing in the middle of the forest. To the beat of a tom-tom, the beat of a tom-tom, the beat of a tom. Joe is not at all, the leader of the following. He's just the host. Where's the host?
Here's the host. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the following program. I am your host, Joe Neerman, a.k.a. Good Lawgic. I hope you all had a phenomenal July 1st, 2026. It had to be better than June 30th. It had to be better, especially since I actually pushed back the start time a little bit. There was purposefulness in that. Purposefulness in the sense that I felt a handful of you may be savoring USA a couple of days before our 250th anniversary, enjoying a 2-0 win over, pretty much we ethnically cleansed Bosnia-Herzegovina in tonight. We demolished them 2-0 despite being shorthanded after a dubious red card was dropped on one of our star players. But so I thought some of you might be enjoying that. Some of you might be savoring it, enjoy. I know it's not an American sport. I know that. But when America is doing well on the international stage in a tournament that's being hosted by us, I think that's a nice thing. So I thought some of you might be into it. And I figured we could push it back a few minutes, push it back, get things started a little bit late. Tonight, what do I have for you? I've got all these different plans for how we're going to fix yesterday's ills. All the ills dropped on us by John Roberts. How we can basically see America get saved from John Roberts. Yeah, John Roberts and Amy Coney Barrett and Kavanaugh. Fred Kavanaugh. Yeah, so all these different plans are in motion. Great ideas, and I'm going to basically be parsing through some of these different plans. A lot better plans than some of the wackiness we saw yesterday as far as, let's have a constitutional amendment and Paul's throwing out. Yeah, that's totally happening. Actual, practical, pragmatic plans. And I want to flesh some of these out as far as, critically analyze which of these kind of seem like they could work, could actually, be legal, effective to remedy the ills dropped on us by SCOTUS yesterday. Also, we have more socialists swallowing up the Democratic Party. They are just chewing up your mainstream establishment Democrats in primaries. We're not going to recognize the House because the Democrats over there are basically these young socialists. That's what we're going to see. Well, not all of them are young. Some of them are old farts like Landers. But for the most part, certainly younger. They're kicking out the old guard. And I want to talk about the ramifications of that. And it's got a lot of different ramifications as far as how it impacts the Democratic Party, how it impacts elections. I want to basically be talking about that. I have a bunch of other news stories that I want to cover with you. And we have a goal. Tonight's goal is if we get 15 super chats in quantities in amounts of $10 or more. It's not quantity of 15. You understand what I'm saying? $10 or more. That's sort of like the yardstick, the cutoff yardstick. So if we get 15 of those, and we count Rumble Rants. And yesterday, Rumble Rants got us over the border. We made it yesterday because of you amazing ghetto people. Yeah. I'm looking at you, Zellian. Yeah. And others like you who helped carry us across the finish line. So, we ended up, I think it was Mita with a long E, ended up getting the final one and making sure we hit the goal. But we wouldn't. I don't know. We would have gotten there, but for the ghetto. So don't discount the ghetto. Don't do that. Why would you discount the ghetto? The ghetto's awesome, amazing. Locals counts too. It's true. It's true. Anything. If we get that, I am going to be having a July 4th celebration with Sin. Sin. Who's? Oh yeah, that's this guy.
Commie ball. Yeah. European sports ball sports, goal.
Gosh, if we can, you don't understand. If we kick
Foot
ass,
sports.
If we kick
ball
ass
goal
in soccer,
communism.
If we, that is America defeating that's capitalism defeating the world. Don't you understand that? Everyone knows that.
Yeah, in a commie sport, bro. Give me the NFL or give me death, right?
You make me smoke.
Hi, chat.
You make me smoke.
It makes you look younger. It makes you look way cooler, Joe.
So, speaking of way cooler,
and
things that are way cooler, did you? Let's talk about Mitch McConnell.
There you go. That's what you were about to say. Did you hear about Mitch yet? No, I didn't. Obviously. Hi, Pet Rescue. Hi, Phyllis Drown? I think I said that right.
Yeah. Did you hear about Mitch McConnell?
Did you hear about this? Did you see this? No, I didn't. Not anything with Mitch.
Do you know who Mitch McConnell is?
Yes, I know who. Famously, I know who Cocaine Mitch McConnell is. Okay.
There you go.
I used to bully him on Twitter. He got mad at me a couple times, which was funny.
No, well, I don't know if he's going to get mad at you anymore.
I don't think he had the brain power for 3 years to get mad at me, to be honest with you. He's been weekend at Bernie's life for a while now.
Yeah. On June 14th, he was taken to a hospital.
Uh-oh.
No one knows what the hell's been going on with him since. So we got that report. Yesterday, I shared a report from Desiree Townsend, who was saying that the situation with Mitch McConnell was much more serious than the GOP has let on. We knew he went to the hospital. He went to the hospital unconscious, like practically in a body bag.
Oh no!
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, practically in a body bag. That's a little much. What are they just placing him in it? Like, well, you know what?
Leave it unzipped a little bit.
We'll half zip this guy. Okay, we'll see where it goes. It's real touch and go right now.
It's much more convenient if we just carry him in the body bag.
Probably
we don't have to move him over
anyway.
later. We don't have to move him over later. We'll leave it unzipped. We'll leave it unzipped. You know, do our best.
Lord have
do
mercy.
our best. Can only pray. Anyhow.
Did you say we can only pray?
Yeah, that's what I said. That's what I said. It's because of him we have the Supreme Court constituted as it is today. It's because of him that we have John Thune standing in the Ways of America Act.
You're right. No, you're right.
I mean,
one of the worst politicians in my lifetime to ever exist, I think.
I mean, we all, I will always appreciate how he managed to keep out Merrick Garland from becoming a Supreme Court justice with, invoking some sort of rule about, when we're not going to bring in someone so close to an election. But that's essentially the only good thing he did, and frankly, he just wanted to get in, his own people instead. He represents everything wrong with the Republican Party. He really does. Yeah, sure. I mean, that's something like any Republican would want to do. It's like, let's not have a Democrat in there. But like, as far as anything that would actually better the lives of Americans, rather than empowering the GOP base itself, the GOP politicians themselves. No, you can't find anything that he's done. You can't. So yesterday I shared this report from Desiree Townsend, which was sharing that he had gone in unconscious. We got more of an update on that today. Bigger update on that today, which I want to share with you and my audience. This is Desiree Townsend.
I would hope so.
Johnson here again in Washington, D.C. So I have another update for all of you on Senator Mitch McConnell's health. So I went back and looked at the other dispatch audio for June 14th when Senator Mitch McConnell was found unconscious at 8:36 a.m. So he was reported unconscious, and then after that, several minutes after that, EMS crews arrived to Senator Mitch McConnell's office, where they immediately proceeded to give him CPR. Apparently, he was in cardiac arrest. So that is where we stand. As of June 14th, he was not only unconscious, he had to be given CPR. He was in cardiac arrest. So now that is going to sort of raise an entire question surrounding the timeline of who spoke with Senator Mitch McConnell. So it appears that Leader Thune had a conversation potentially, or maybe just spoke with the staff of Senator McConnell's office the very next day on the 15th. Now, this new audio recording that exposes more of his health condition puts that entire conversation into question, because if Senator Mitch McConnell were presumably unconscious and not breathing for several minutes to where he required CPR, he was in cardiac arrest, the odds of an 84-year-old recovering, becoming conscious the very next day to have a conversation with Leader Thune becomes somewhat unlikely. And so then the question then becomes,
how big a liar is John Thune?
why did Leader Thune potentially not disclose this important detail? Because essentially losing that vote, losing Mitch McConnell's vote, will almost certainly handicap the Republicans in the Senate from here on through the midterm elections until there is a special election called in Kentucky to be able to vote in a new senator. As of right now, even if Senator Mitch McConnell is on life support, we have to wait for him to pass to be able to call up a special election in Kentucky and vote in a new senator to serve out the remainder of his term in the 119th Congress. So more information to come. Stay tuned for more.
The angel of death is a very patient individual when it comes to Mitch McConnell, apparently. Circling over his bed, circling around with that big scythe.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I wish you'd be a little less patient sometimes with people.
It's just a little,
so I'm not saying anybody in particular.
Oh, I will. I'll say Mitch McConnell.
Wow.
No. No.
Don't open your eyes so big when you say that. Okay?
No, I'm telling you right now. I would think you would be more evil than Mitch McConnell if you physically tried to do anything to harm him.
Agreed.
But we should all sing praises to God when his soul leaves his body.
Yes.
So
he's been a tragedy, a travesty, an albatross. I mean,
he's a terrible human being.
Yeah,
he's a terrible human being who's harmed millions of people. So why should we not celebrate and dance the way we would when Stalin died? Same. I mean, he's not killing people the way Stalin did, at least directly. But he's this megalomaniac lunatic who basically is all about his power and the power of his crony friends. So, and to the detriment of America, making America a worse place.
100%.
So we should celebrate when someone was an obstacle to the growth of America, purposefully making himself an obstacle to the growth of America and the betterment of America.
Yeah, he's one of the main reasons why Trump has been so kneecapped since 2016. Completely. Yeah, because of him and his cronies and his super PACs and all that stuff. It's always been, well, you need my super PAC, so you're going to give me this, or you're going to give me that, and everything else. He's just been nothing.
I'm so glad you brought that up.
Yeah, I know some things.
No, because I actually had forgotten another terribleness about this jackass is that he actually was helping to primary against. He was giving money in GOP primaries in order to help keep out
Republicans,
MAGA folk.
Yes,
he was overseeing Win Red and donating millions of dollars to try and keep establishment GOP there
Sure
you know,
was.
your typical Bill Cassidys of the world and his crony establishment people to keep them in place over folks who actually care about making America live up to its ideals and promise.
Yes.
So this is what I'm saying when I say he was a really evil person. It's very rare for me to come out and say I hope someone dies, but I have no reservations about saying I genuinely hope Mitch McConnell dies quickly.
Is there anything wrong with that?
I'm not wishing for a painful death.
Just death.
I'm not. Yeah, I don't need him tortured. I have enough confidence that God will handle him and his soul appropriately. I'm not wishing a painful death, but I do wish that he would. And I certainly would never. And I think anyone who did anything to expedite and move along the process, I think that would be I think that'd be very evil.
Okay, I was about to say the way the tone sounded for a second. I was about to pull you back, Joe. I was about to go, whoa. Wait a minute.
No. I think that anyone who would take steps to expedite his demise, that would be more evil than Mitch McConnell, because we're not aware of Cocaine Mitch ever actually directly killing someone, and shortening someone's life is killing them. So I certainly think that would be very, very evil, and I would be angry at anyone who did that and think they should be prosecuted and sent to prison for murder, same as they would, if they killed a really good person. But if God is able to, basically bless us and take his soul as quickly as possible, preferably, if we could celebrate July 4th with Mitch McConnell up in facing God's wrath.
It would be beautiful if he went on July 4th. Like, who else went on July 4th? What was it? James Madison went on July 4th?
No, it was actually Thomas Jefferson and John Adams died on the same day on the 50th anniversary.
Yeah, and John Adams famously hated July 4th, wanted it to be celebrated on July 2nd.
Yeah, July 4th, 1826, they both died. And in fact, supposedly, I think Adams' last words were, "At least Jefferson lives." Like, and he didn't realize that Jefferson, because they're far away from each other. They're far away from each other. Like they're basically like a 2-week travel from each other when you go from Massachusetts to Virginia.
Mad. So he hated July 4th. He always wanted it to be celebrated on July 2nd. That's where he wanted Independence Day to be. And then Jefferson passed, and then he dies on the 4th. Like, what did he do to have those final moments? Like,
I don't know. I have no ill will towards John Adams. He was a terrible president.
Neither do I. But at the same time, I'm thinking now I need to go read his biography again and see if maybe there's something in there I can find that really made God mad at him.
Well, I'm not sure. I'm not positive that he didn't die a couple hours before Thomas Jefferson. I'm not sure whether Jefferson was dead when he said it or not.
I've got to Google this.
I'm a little curious about that now. But anyway, so. Yeah, the idea that Cocaine Mitch may kick the bucket any day, I don't know if they'll tell us. I think that they might, basically leave his decomposing corpse to to basically be rotting in some barn somewhere in Kentucky before they, for weeks or months without telling us. I have no idea what the hell the GOP is capable of.
What if they did hold off announcing until the 4th and then done that? All right, so Jefferson died. He passed first at 83, and shortly around noon, and then Adams died 5 hours later. So
it's pretty cool, right?
That's that. First of all, that is pretty cool. Second of all, Adams, what'd you do, man? Like, seriously, I've got to go back and read your biography, bro.
He was a pretty bad president.
Yeah,
and frankly, his policies were very, very much towards the strength of the federal government, whereas Jefferson differed and was much more into local governance. But so Jefferson, it was really interesting. But the whole philosophy of the founders is not really quantifiable in terms that relate to us politically today, because people would call Jefferson more of a liberal, but in no way would he fit in with anything related to the Democratic Party today. So, but he was definitely much more of a liberal than, and he was much less of a religious. He was much less. Supposedly, he definitely believed in a creator and he had a very enlightened 18th century perspective on religion, in contrast to Adams, who was reputedly far more traditionally Christian.
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyway. Brad Pitt comes in, USA, USA, USA. Here's a tenor toward the goal, go, go, go. This victory is a breath of fresh air after yesterday's kick in the jimmies. It was a kick in the jimmies. Thank you for the tenor, brother. Kimmy says, I just saw a new post. I just sent a new post to you. Kimmy's the one who gave me this Desiree Townsend post. So thank you for that, Kimmy. You're awesome. And she said, send a new post to me, the actual 911 audio stating need a supervisor, CPR in progress. I definitely want to, we should hear that. Let's check that out. Let's check that out. I definitely want to hear and revel in that moment.
Great communication.
Thank you, Kimmy. This is what she sent me.
Got it. Great communications. East Army supervisor, CPR in progress.
Okay.
EMS to respond
Die.
for cardiac arrest. 217 C3 notice in Charlie. EMS to respond for cardiac arrest. 217 C3 notice in Charlie. Cruise of 2nd Street in Charlie 11 843.
Medic 3 of EMS still coming.
Got it. Great communication.
So yeah, I mean it's interesting to hear the actual call, but and I appreciate that very much. Thank you, Kimmy. Yeah, and right now, look, if he would retire and resign from Congress, I would have no interest in seeing him die. It's just that he refuses to let go of his power because
they always do that though.
That's what he is.
It's funny that you saw like the Republicans say things like this forever ago, and now they're like, you know what, if Mitch makes it out, we'll just let him go back. We'll let him come back. Why not? We'll just let him do.
They love him. They love him. The neocons love him. It's really sickening.
They do. Yeah, they like him and Lindsey Graham, which always blows my mind.
Yeah.
Those are your two favorite guys, right? It's your guy. That's your boys. Joe's boys is what we call them around.
Philip Collins says the FAA will make me retire at 65. I say we have the same rule with politicians. Either that, or they have to disclose the prescription meds they're on for the goal. Here we go. I think we're gonna be celebrating July 4th tonight.
Probably.
I'm actually hearing fireworks outside my window right now.
Really?
Yeah, I get fireworks. Fireworks usually start in my neighborhood around. My birthday is June 25th. It usually starts around then. Like that's there's like a season where all of a sudden I'll just hear fireworks popping off for like 10 days. So, and it culminates obviously on July 4th. But yeah, so I kind of like it. It gets me in the mood,
Mm-hmm.
So, oh guys, how you doing, my brother? Reagan frequently argued that policies expanding government intervention and welfare programs were stepping stones towards socialism and totalitarianism. Yeah, he was actually a very big believer that if we ever come to tyranny, it will come through socialism. He was a very big advocate of that. That fascism and tyranny is basically is what is bred through socialism. And that's when you're talking about people looking for freedoms, it's the exact opposite of fascism and tyranny. It's the exact opposite, which is why it's ironic that the left is so incompetent that they routinely refer to MAGA, which is all about civil liberties, and Trump as being fascistic. And Hitler, it's stupid. But it's not like we're dealing with the sharpest knives in the drawer. It also says how many politicians are in the Black Eye Club. There are handlers who black the eyes of celebrities, prominent people, and politicians. Show side these celebrities, prominent people, and politicians are not in charge. Do you know what he's referring to here?
Yeah, it's it's one of those like Illuminati things. It's a conspiracy theory, but it's like supposedly a secret.
I've never heard of this
elite
at all.
Society or whatever that has like clandestine, like initiation rituals or whatever, and they do it. You know the guys that do like the Illuminati stuff where it's like the all-seeing eye.
Yeah.
So they do like you'll see like celebrities doing the one eye thing or whatever on album covers or what have you. Also, there's a thing where like politicians and all that get a black eye. So
I knew someone who joined the Freemasons.
mm-hmm.
Like he went through their initiation ritual,
Mm-hmm.
which he told me what they do.
It's not, that's a big no-no.
I know.
I come from a family of Masons, dude. I've now got to report you.
I'm not going to tell you who it was.
Yeah, but I'm going to have to report you to the Masons, who will then come to you and harass you for Shriners donations. Just so you know, until you tell them who it was.
That's the method.
That's the way it works.
They harass me. I'm going to be harassed for donations
every day.
Oh my gosh. No, please say it ain't so.
Joe,
oh no. What will I do if I'm harassed for donations?
Joe, I think you forget your proclivities of who you are. You're a Jewish man.
Please leave me be. Please leave me be. Oh no. Oh, fine. I'll tell you. Just let me be.
Joe, they're going to tug at your wallet strings every day as a Jewish man. Eventually, you're going to snitch to make them stop. It's the unmovable object versus the unstoppable force. You're in trouble, Joe. Should have never said that.
I somehow feel sufficiently empowered to say no.
No, thank you, sir. You can take you and your fez.
You want to
get off my lawn, sir?
I would be like, why would I? What is the pitch of the Shriners Club when they're looking for donations? And if
Shriners
you're not
Hospital.
a Shriner, Shriners Hospital.
Shriners Hospital, yeah.
Mm-hmm. No.
Yeah, so they I was actually I'm not gonna delve into that, but no, they give kids surgeries for free. So they completely pay for it. They bring the parents and family up there, they put them up, they pay for all their meals, they pay for all the surgery. It's all inclusive, travel, everything. So that's what you're donating to when you donate to the Shriners.
All right, that one might work on me.
Gotcha. There we go.
That one might work on me.
Mm-hmm.
But I need to know that it's not going to be like.
Do you not want to save sick children, Joe?
Yeah.
Do you want them to have to go have operations that their families cannot afford?
What about the children?
Yeah, what about the children, Joe?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to clip this. I'm going to play it on my show and say Joe hates kids. So hey, got it.
Well, the MAGA voice was sharing out today. I want to start covering like stories because time's a wasting.
Man. You were too busy yelling about Mitch McConnell passing away, celebrating, running the bases.
He hasn't passed away yet, but
hating children even.
He's a terrible person. But I want to start looking at different steps that are being taken to try and remedy. Those of you who are, who just woke up from a coma may be unaware of the fact that A, USA won tonight, and B, yesterday SCOTUS basically stabbed America in the back and betrayed us all by implying that the Constitution, that they're saying that their read of the Constitution is that it offers birthright citizenship to anyone who is popped out from their placenta on our soil. So irrespective of the status of their mother or father. So that kind of outraged anyone who's a thinking American and actually loves this country.
Mm-hmm.
And today we saw all these different discussions as to how do we deal with this situation? What is the most effective way to basically stop them from overrunning our country? Because it's a real concern, obviously. Yeah. So, and the first overrunning, sorry, I was opening up the ghetto, making sure that I had that open there. So the first thing we'll start with is this. Donald Trump, yes, this came out yesterday. So what he said was big news. For the first time ever, the Republican Party will hold a midterm convention.
Wow.
First time ever.
Wait, for the first time ever? Oh, that's a Democrat thing. They normally do the
We're running a midterm convention for the Republican Party. It will be in Dallas, Texas, one of my favorite places in the world. It'll be fantastic. It's never been done before.
It'll be fantastic. Never been done before. It's huge.
Truly a historic event. We are going to celebrate the great American comeback and the incredible successes of the American people who transformed our country through the America First agenda. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, stronger borders, safest ever communities, lower costs and real affordability, more jobs, American energy dominance, and so much more. Oil prices are dropping sharply, even as we denuclearize Iran. We are delivering on the promises that politicians talked about for decades but never got done. At the event, we will have hardworking Americans, our great innovators, entrepreneurs, manufacturers, first responders, and job creators who are powering our nation's golden age and proving that America's best days are still ahead of us. We will also have lots of great entertainment. It'll be a rally like none other. America's 250th birthday is approaching, and together we're building the foundation for the next 250 years of American greatness. Dallas will take center stage on September 9th and 10th as we celebrate our nation, our achievements, and our bright future, the golden age of America.
I mean, historically, if I was a president, I wouldn't be visiting Dallas, but hey, you do you, pal.
It's the first thing I thought of. Also, I was thinking Kennedy. First thing I was thought of. I thought it too.
Okay.
Yeah. So, do you know? I know that you know that the dramatic implications of the birthright citizenship, because you're not a stupid person. I don't know if you understand the legal flaws in what the majority opinion was saying.
No, I didn't actually get to read the opinion. I planned on reading it.
You wouldn't understand it. I don't mean any offense.
Thanks, Joe.
It's really, I mean, you probably would. It would just, it's like, it's a hard read. It's a hard read.
Yeah, all those legalese are difficult for somebody.
And it's also got certain concepts built in there. I mean, it's just it takes constant. It's 200 pages. That's what I'm saying. It's 200 pages of like thinking while you're reading it. So what I'm saying is, if you gave it to like a smart high school kid, they would spend like 6 months to get their way through it. Now you're smarter than a smart high school kid. My point is, you really, it's just you get the Cliff Notes version from an attorney, and it's probably, unless it's your thing. So look, some people enjoy reading Supreme Court decisions, and parts of it, are actually interesting history that is shared, in particular in the dissent.
Yeah.
But one of the most famous legal scholars in the world is Alan Dershowitz, and he had thoughts when he visited Megyn Kelly about the decision. So we'll just hear from him very quickly.
This is a very interesting conflict between textualism and common sense. Look, let's start with
textualism is the notion of we're going to look at the words in the statute or the Constitution, and because the key phrase, which is the whole battle over this birthright citizenship, is the 14th Amendment guarantees that anyone who's born on our soil, subject to our jurisdiction, is a citizen. And the question is, what does that mean, subject to our jurisdiction? Does that mean that we have exclusive jurisdiction over them? Or can that jurisdiction be shared? That's essentially what it really boils down to. In other words, if they have allegiance to other countries, in that case, that they are honor bound to go and deal with if they're called upon by that other country, then they're not subject to our jurisdiction. They're subject to the jurisdiction of someone else. That's what the dissent was in many ways trying to say. Aside from the fact that they're saying historically this was never interpreted this way, it was never meant to be read this way. So, but textualism basically says, let's look at the text and try to figure out what does the text of it mean versus like originalism is like, what was this historically, what was the whole purpose of this? Text is, what do the words say? That's textualism. Then you have like this other approach to reading the Constitution, which is as a living, breathing document, which means when they wrote it, they meant A, but when we're looking at this, we can also extend that out to mean B, C, D, E, F, and G. even though they never thought about this at all, but it's kind of baked into the words. This is the most retarded way of actually reading the Constitution, and it's the way that Democrats embrace all the time in order to try and create constitutional rights that were never ever intended by the people writing the words. And it's really stealing powers, the court trying to steal power and pretend that they have the authority to just now write new laws by saying, well, we sort of read it in there. That's where Roe v. Wade was. Roe v. Wade said constitutionally, there's extra rights, and we can read into this Fifth Amendment, the 14th Amendment, and try to cobble together different things and read it as what, and say it's under the penumbra of general rights that you can just go kill a fetus. It was retarded. But anyway, so he's talking about textualism, which is trying to break down the words, the text, break down the words and see what do the words actually mean.
Birthright citizenship. It's the dumbest idea ever conceived of anybody. No smart person would ever put birthright citizenship in a constitution. Almost no other country in the world has it. All the examples that you've given and the others have given about people just being born in the country and then leaving, of course you're right. Birthright citizenship is stupid, stupid, stupid. Also, it was never intended to cover people from China who come here, give birth, and then go back and have no allegiance to the United States. That's all clear. The problem...
And we saw, if you look historically at it, Chinese people gave birth here. No one thought that those kids are Americans, even though they're born on our soil. No one thought that for a second. But all of a sudden now you have these justices saying, well, that's what the text says. It's retarded.
Is the wording of the Constitution. The wording of the Constitution is dumb, but it's there. And so you have a textualist, and I could understand a real conservative textualist like, our dear friend Justice Scalia, who was saying, well, I'm not empowered to change the Constitution. The Constitution says born in the United States, subject to the jurisdiction thereof. Yeah, maybe. So I would hope that A, the Constitution would be amended to make sense, but unlikely. But B, I have more hope, Megan, than you do in Justice Kavanaugh's dictum, because I think it's dictum on both sides. It's dictum on.
Explain that.
I do think that if Congress were to have hearings, were to bring people who would testify about people from China coming over here and giving birth and then leaving, and that they were then pass a statute saying people like that are not subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. And therefore, although they qualify if they are subject to the jurisdiction of the United States, that's a legislative matter. And legislatively, we now rule under Article 1 of the Constitution that people who have no allegiance to the country other than the accident of birth are not subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. So
does this make sense to you, or you need translation? Because I would think that 9 out of 10 lay people would prefer to have a translation for what he's saying here.
I mean, what are you getting paid for, Joe?
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. You want to read 200 pages of that? Or would you rather have a lawyer say this is and this page here, when they're saying this is what he's saying, the way he, and he's breaking down the heart of it.
Well, modern times, I've got a Chat GPT that I could throw this into.
Right. And, that's true. You don't need to have flesh and blood explained to you when you have AI.
But I like when you explain it to me. Go ahead. Break it down.
So you can look at it as a 5-4 decision or a 6-3 decision, because what happened is you had 5 justices who were all part of the majority. That is your 3 liberals, Jackson, Kagan, Sotomayor. Then it was written by Chief Justice Roberts and Amy Coney Barrett, the traitor. And those 5 are all in agreement in saying, because it says this in Section 14, in Article 14, Section 1 of the Constitution, it says everyone born here, subject to the jurisdiction. We understand subject to jurisdiction is basically you can be arrested, you're here on our soil, and it's basically excluding very small group of people. It's excluding like ambassadors who are, from another country and we have no power over them. But everyone else born here is guaranteed citizenship under the 14th Amendment. What that means is that according to them, this is a constitutional thing. What happens if Congress comes along and tries passing a law saying we're changing this? We're reading subject to jurisdiction as excluding some Colombian woman who basically pops a kid out on our soil. And well, in that case, the Supreme Court would be like, it's nice that Congress passed a law like that, but you can't pass a law that's an unconstitutional law. You violate the Constitution. The 14th Amendment says they are. So those 5 justices, presumably, there's a really good chance they'll come back and say, your law is unconstitutional and strike down the law. It's very possible they'll say that.
How long?
You have a 6th justice in Kavanaugh. What Kavanaugh said is, he goes, I agree overall with the finding that Trump's EO is no good. But I have a different reason, not because of what it says in the Constitution. The reason I say that is because in 1950, 70 years after that amendment was written, Congress wrote a law which basically said anyone born here is guaranteed to have citizenship. And Trump's EO is violating that law. So his EO loses when you have an EO versus a statute. Statute crushes the EO. So he's saying, I don't see it in the Constitution, but I do see in this statute, 8 USC 1401, that it basically says that Trump can't do this. However, according to him, if Congress was to change 1401 and pass a new law saying we're changing that, then he would be on board in saying, yeah, Congress has that power. So the question is, if Congress were to come out and pass a law, would you get one of the other justices to go along and say, yeah, now that they passed this law, I think they have the authority to do this? Or would all 5 justices say, no, it's not. We're striking it down because it's the Constitution? We know Kavanaugh would come aboard with the other 3 justices who are fighting against it. But we don't know about Roberts or Barrett as to where they would sit on this whole thing. So that's basically what he's talking about here, as far as breaking it down. That he says that he finds he finds hope in what Kavanaugh was saying. That Kavanaugh is basically like, hey, look, Congress, go pass a law, and then you'll be able to stop this whole birthright citizenship thing. So he's trying to find hope in that.
I still have hope that could be done, and I have absolute desire to see Congress try to do that. I'd be happy to testify. I'd be happy to help them on this. I think it's really important for Congress to get into the act, because executive orders are generally subject to much, much greater scrutiny by the Supreme Court because they're not part of the Constitution than are actions by Congress, which are Article 1 actions. So I think this is maybe the right textual decision, but the wrong common sense decision, and I think Congress can overrule it in effect.
Anyway, so that's his. I don't understand why they'd be able to overrule the Constitution, but he's the constitutional law expert. So let's get into different plans that are out there to try and curb the problem of having people gaining American citizenship by being born on our soil. Because I don't know if you've thought this through. You literally can have someone who's born in Guam, which is considered American soil.
Yeah, we were talking about that last week. They just got to go to an American territory.
Grow up in China, and grow up in Russia, grow up in Iran or some state that's actively hostile to us, and become president of the United States because they qualify as born on our soil and American citizen from birth. I mean, this is insane. It's crazy. So it's kind of a scary situation. Anyway, here's Andy Ogles. He's from the House of Representatives talking about his new idea to try and ameliorate the situation.
A way which really pushes back against the Supreme Court, this idea, look, if you're pregnant and you're from a foreign nation, you know what? It's time for Congress to pass a law to say you can't come here. You can't have a baby on U.S. soil and exploit this loophole, and we're going to attack this head on. And so, our founding fathers, they warned us about a judiciary that was too powerful. We're supposed to be co-equal branches of government. You have a judiciary that day in and day out legislates Legislating is the job of Congress, and I'm tired of usurping or being usurped by the Supreme Court. And quite frankly, they got this horribly wrong. Just because you have 100 years of bad precedent doesn't make, multiple wrongs don't make a right. And it's time for them to do their dang job. And so, you know what? In Congress, we're going to fight back. We're going to start passing laws. We're going to take our country back. We're going to secure the border. We're going to start kicking people out of this country away.
So he's basically saying, let's not let any pregnant women into the country. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean,
pass a law. You're pregnant. You can't visit.
Can't visit. That is. Oh man, that is wild though. There's. I mean, that's the only way you could do it. I think.
You could be much more aggressive than that.
Well, how much more aggressive would you go?
Oh, that's what we need to discuss. That's what we're doing here.
Okay, how much more aggressive are we thinking?
Well, we're gonna talk about different plans.
Yeah, Nacho Kitty has a great one. Must ban all females. No more females in the country.
Yeah, you could do that. You could do that in order to help ensure that we don't have a problem.
I don't like
and no women can come.
Well.
This is something people are talking about, pregnancy tests at airports.
What? This is gonna. Oh man, this is turning to a dystopian nightmare, huh?
Why is that? Why is that dystopian?
I mean, you go to an airport and have to take a pregnancy test is wild to think about. I mean, I agree we need to protect our borders, but
it's you're saying that because we don't have that now.
Yeah.
But if it was going on for 10 years, it'd be like, oh yeah, that's standard protocol. You want to come to America, you have to take a pregnancy test.
Yeah, people would get used to it after a while.
Totally get used to it.
Mm.
It would become something that during the first 6 months, you'd be like, what the hell is going on? And after that, everyone would be like, oh yeah, that's part of visiting America, is you have to have a pregnancy test. There'd be all sorts of fights about it in court, saying that it's sexist and that, it's violating their rights, and it would probably face intermediate scrutiny.
Yeah, but non-American citizens don't have rights here. Bye-bye.
I wish that were true. It's not really true.
I mean, if they're coming into the country like that to visit,
believe it or not, they actually have rights. It's bizarre and weird, but yeah, they're guaranteed civil liberties as soon as they cross over here. So, yeah, this is where the left is at. I mean, because there's
no visas for women of childbearing age. Guys, okay, all right, well, let's calm down. All right,
dude, if you ask me, I would deport every woman between the age of 10 and 50. I don't care if you never committed a crime. I'd say to them this: you either sign a paper waiving any right or claim for any offspring of yours to have American citizenship, or we're deporting you. It's really that simple.
Well, I mean, if we're deporting them, I agree with that.
Now we'll give you a way out of it.
Yeah.
If you're someone who's living here peacefully and contributing to American society, okay. But we're not letting you in here. We're not or remain in our country unless you basically waive any claim that any offspring you bear on our soil should have American citizenship. If you want to sign that, to the extent that we would keep anyone here, we'll let you stay. But why shouldn't we? They should basically hold their visitation abilities hostage to that condition, that they're not going to try and take advantage of us, because that's what the entire world is doing. The entire world is treating us like we're a bunch of stoops, like we're idiots. Yeah, we're a bunch of patsies. We're losers. That's how they're basically treating us, and taking advantage of us. And this is how we stop it. This is how we basically say, hell with that. So, and the problem is we have the left is a bunch of idiots like Katie Couric over here. And Paul tries setting straight.
Less than 14% of nearly 400,000 immigrants arrested by ICE in President Trump's first year back in the White House had charges or convictions for violent criminal offenses, according to an internal Department of Homeland Security document obtained by CBS News. So isn't all this talk about ridding the country of violent criminals a massive overstatement? If less than 14%, again, of the 400,000 immigrants being arrested are had charges or convictions for violent criminal offenses?
Well, I think the facts make a difference. And so that's one of the questions we will ask. And so when you come to Minneapolis, if they have a policy that says, oh, we're not going to turn over from our jails nonviolent prisoners, people who are, I don't know why you're in prison if you're not violent, but maybe you have a drug crime that's a nonviolent.
I think there are plenty
Right back, Joe.
people in
But the thing is that's not their policy. Their policy is we will turn no one over. So you can be, you beat somebody half to death, you get an assault charge, and you're in jail for a couple years, and somehow you're getting out on parole, and you're not going to be turned over and you're illegal. I've got a problem with that, and so do probably most independents and Democrats. But that's what we have to ascertain. And the thing is that's not the policy of Mayor Fry. He did not come forward and say, we're not going to turn over nonviolent prisoners. He just simply said, we're not going to cooperate at all. And if you do cooperate, and this is Ellison's edict to them, it's actually against the law for you to cooperate. So if you happen to have a Republican county and a Republican judge who wants to turn over people in jail once their term has expired to be deported, they've actually made that illegal. And so we should have a debate in our country whether that's advisable. And I think most people are in the middle. I think most people actually hate what the use of force that they saw with Alexander Preddy. But I think if you ask them, if a guy's committed rape and he's in prison and he's going to get out, do you want him deported? I think people would say, hell yes, he ought to be deported. But
having said that, though, what about the 14%? Such a low percentage of 400,000 people.
This idiot is just ignoring that you're talking about out of 400,000, 14% is 60,000 violent people. 60,000 violent people.
Oof.
She's just 14%. 14%. 60,000 violent people.
If your daughter gets raped by the guy that gets back out and he's one of the 14%, I don't think you're going to quibble about whether it's 14 or 64. What I'm saying is, if you're not going to,
who are not guilty,
if you're not going to turn over anybody, then that's 0%. I don't think the percentage, it makes a halfway argument to how much effort we have. But if Minnesota's not going to turn over anybody, the whole argument, whether it's 14 or 86, doesn't mean anything. So if they're not turning over anybody, then inevitably there are many emotional cases. You know,
anyway, I'm tired of hearing Rand Paul. But
he's also very disappointing.
Yes, he is. So let me just catch up on a couple of chats that came in here. Who wins the space lasers or harassing phone calls? That's a good question. If it's gonna be me versus the Shriners, harassing phone calls versus space lasers, it's an epic battle right there. Thank you so much, Peas and Butter, for America's 250th birthday. Happy birthday, America. Jew! Why can't we get Germans and the Swedes to breed? $50,000 for every baby they have in America. Make this happen, Joe. Sin, you know what's coming for you. What's your P.O. box?
Oh, yeah, I got to set up a P.O. box for Schwalbach. It's not good. I don't know exactly what's coming, but I've got ideas.
Do you know this guy?
Yeah, that's a guy that is on my panel a good bit. Yeah.
Oh, your ghost, really bad. I get rid of that too. I can't even.
Ghetto Robo Shin one is that's how you read the name.
Ghetto Robo Shin one.
He's black. Don't worry about him. Now, what's up, Wine Gun? Good to see you, buddy.
Hands one says, "When we turn power on full body scanners to detect pregnancy." Yeah, that's it. I like that.
That's a good idea.
Hit him with hard radiation. He also says every day the Shriners in their little cars will come around Joe's house for months.
Yep, sure will.
That'd be great. Anyway, more thoughts on the yesterday's decision. That people having all their different plans. Quadruple boom. This is absolutely huge. Follow me on this. It's worth it. This is Supreme Court exposure operation as much as it is senatorial pressure campaign. This, you can tell already the QAnon vibe is strong in this one. The official ruling was 6-3 against Trump's executive order, yet the constitutional wall beneath it stands only 5-4. That distinction is the decode. Whenever people talk like this, I'm just like, I don't know what's happening here. I don't know what's going on.
I heard QAnon in forever. Lord, man.
Roberts, Barrett, and the 3 liberal justices ruled that the 14th Amendment guarantees citizenship to children born here, even when their parents are unlawfully or temporarily present. Kavanaugh supplied a 6th vote to stop the order while rejecting the majority's constitutional reasoning. In his view, it's not the 14th Amendment. It fails because there's a federal statute. 4 justices are now publicly on record that the Constitution leaves Congress room to restrict birthright citizenship. So in other words, all 4 of them basically say that's not what the Constitution is not why they have it. Kavanaugh then moved the pressure upstream by making clear Congress can amend 8 U.S.C. 1401A, create exceptions for children born to foreign citizens unlawfully or temporarily inside the country, and force the question back before the court. Trump forced the issue through the executive branch. The court exposed its internal fault line. Kavanaugh identified the statutory barrier and placed the legislative key in the hands of the Senate. In other words, he basically gave he gave Congress a roadmap as to what do you need to do in order to abolish birthright citizenship. The order was blocked because Congress left the law untouched. Now every senator owns that decision. Thomas followed with a 91-page constitutional foundation, tracing citizenship through allegiance, jurisdiction, domicile, Civil Rights Act of 1866, the 14th Amendment debates, and the limits of Wong Kim Ark. He actually, if you're going to read any part of it, of that 200 pages, his dissent is a really, it's an interesting read, where he basically is explaining that domicile, and you as a realtor should appreciate, you can own multiple residences. You only have one domicile.
Yeah.
Your domicile is that's your primary place.
Yeah, your homestead is what normally they'll call it whenever you
exactly. And he basically said he brings a lot of evidence that domicile is the yardstick for which we can best measure as to whether someone who's giving a child, who has a child, should be a citizen. Because the case of Wong Kim Ark was about a 20-year-old Chinese guy who was born on American soil. His parents were not citizens because at the time there was a statute that stopped them from being citizens. It was illegal for Chinese people to become citizens. So when Wong Kim Ark left the country, he went to China, and then he returned, the United States said, we're not letting you in. And he said, I'm a citizen under the 14th Amendment. And the court agreed with Wong Kim Ark. But a large part of the reasoning that they had there was they looked at his parents. They didn't just say you were born here. That's not what they said at all. What they really did is they looked at the parents and they made a whole pitch and a whole big stink about how his parents have done everything to build California, where they were living, as their home. And that this is their home. This is, that they themselves cannot become citizens, but they are domiciled here. So if you read Wong Kim Ark, it's really interesting, because the majority says, look, in Wong Kim Ark, we said you're born here, that's where you come in. If you actually read Wong Kim Ark and understand the Wong Kim Ark case, it actually is saying, if you're domiciled here, this is your principal home. If you're giving your allegiance to America and you pop a kid out, then that kid is a citizen, but not just you walk across the border and just, waddle on over and just raise your legs, pop out a baby. And it's like, oh, yay, huzzah, let's get an American passport. That's not the way it's, go back home and raise our little American citizen as, bastard. That's so. And it's a really brilliant piece that he's invested a lot of time. And the reason they write so long, what are you doing? Like, you have to ask yourself, he's a very smart guy. Why are you wasting what was assuredly, he spent, through his clerks, probably a lot of it, probably hundreds if not like over 1,000 hours collectively with the research and all his other that he had his staff do, and that he ultimately pens his dissent. Why are you doing that when doesn't seem like it's changing anything? The reason justices do that is because they are trying to create a roadmap. They're trying to have something that will be looked at later on when the issue is revisited by the Supreme Court, or help give guidance to the president or to Congress as to the best lines, most effective lines of attack in order to build up their case and succeed in the next go round. So they're basically like, they're saying, I know that we lost today, but I want to help build the chances of success of winning tomorrow. And that's why he invested that much time and effort, because this is something he takes very, very seriously. Alito took it very, very seriously. They both refer to this as one of the most significant decisions in the history of the United States.
I think so.
So that's why he invested so much time and effort. And he was building a record for the next case while warning that this ruling may not stand the test of time because it devalues American citizenship. Alito translated the doctrine into national security reality. A mother enters long enough to give birth, returns to a strategic adversary, raises the child outside America, and teaches that child to hate the United States. Yet under the majority's ruling, the person remains an American citizen, the passport, entry rights, political privileges attached to that status. So Thomas built the record. Alito exposed the consequence, and Kavanaugh revealed the congressional mechanism. Roberts and Barrett supplied the decisive votes, preserving the barrier. Now follow the latter. See, this is where we get to QAnon type of talk.
Good old QAnon. Have not heard that in forever.
Citizenship establishes membership. Membership opens voter registration. Registration creates ballot access. Ballots determine representation. Representation controls Congress, and Congress writes the laws governing citizenship and elections. This is why birthright citizenship legislation and the Save America Act are separate rails inside the same sovereignty system. One determines who enters the political body. The other verifies citizenship before political power is exercised. Birthright legislation defines membership. Save America protects the franchise through documentary proof of citizenship, voter identification. I think this is actually a fair point. This is a great point. That's why I keep covering both of these together. That's why both of these topics seem to be both flaring up at the exact same time, because they are so intermarried with each other. Because birthright citizenship is determining who has the right to come to our polls, and then Save America is who is actually, what steps are we taking to ensure that the right people are coming to our polls. SCOTUS has exposed both ends of the political power chain, who becomes citizen, how ballots are accepted. Senators can no longer hide behind the courts, presidential authority, or claims that Congress lacks power. The ruling exposed the fracture. Kavanaugh explained why executive action was insufficient, and the sixth vote identified Congress as the institution capable of changing the law. The ruling did not close the issue to expose the entire ladder. Anyway, and the point being that the order was blocked, the architecture was revealed, the pressure moved upstream. The Senate owns the outcome. Watch the video and read below. And I'm going to have this quick clip here.
But Justice Clarence Thomas writing a 91-page dissent on why he thinks the court got it wrong. I am not sure that today's opinion will stand the test of time. The citizenship clause added greatly to the dignity and glory of American citizenship. Today's opinion devalues that citizenship. I respectfully dissent. Some on the left say that's not really what this is about.
There are folks who are doubling down on the idea that this country must be a white republic through a narrow decision.
No one's saying that.
Nobody's saying that at all.
Stands, but we need to still be mindful of the motivation that is driving all of this in the first place.
You don't know the freaking first damn thing about motivation. You're a freaking liar.
It seems to me. And Kavanaugh is at the heart of it. Just answer that part of it.
There is motivation at the heart of this issue, but the motivation is revealed in the numbers. In 2023, 320,000 babies, that's 9% of all U.S. births, were born to mothers who were here illegally or on temporary visas. And that number grew during the Biden administration. The U.S. remains one of the few countries in the world that grants unrestricted birthright citizenship. Justice Alito, as you see on your screen, the number of countries that do not have unrestricted birthright citizenship, that scroll could take minutes. as it's virtually every other country in the world. Justice Alito wrote about the national security implications in his dissent. He wrote, suppose that a person's only connection to this country is that he was born here to a mother who was present just long enough to give birth and then quickly returned to a native country. Suppose that country is a strategic adversary or enemy of the United States. Suppose the child never visited the United States while growing up and was inculcated with hatred of this country. According to this court now, that person is a citizen of the United States. He has a...
Oof. So that's the reality. That is the reality of what they gave us. But there are, there are other, there are efforts to try and remedy the situation. One of them is coming from Chip Roy, member of the House. Chip Royce got up there today.
I'll tell you right now that for the decisions I have remaining in my time in Congress in this term, for the remaining of our funding decisions and appropriations, for whatever we're going to do in reconciliation, we better fix this. This Congress better fix this. Because I have no interest in continuing to fund the operations of a government that has been undermined by the United States Supreme Court.
Here's another idea for you. What do you say that we pack the court?
Oh, man, it's just the hypocrisy.
I know.
I can't stand a hypocrite, man. I really, really can't. I can't.
I need to ask it. What do you say? What do you say about packing the court? Do you think the left is not going to pack the court?
Yeah, I know they're going to. They're aiming to.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
I don't want it to happen. Sorry, I can't. Just because somebody else is going to shoot somebody in the face doesn't mean I'm going to shoot somebody in the face. Sorry, I can't.
You passed.
Yeah. I passed.
Mm-hmm. That's the right answer. That's the right answer. Even though I'm all on board with killing the filibuster, I am not on board with packing the court. I'm not on board with that. Some people are throwing out the idea. Some people are saying, that's what we need to do. I am not on board with that. I don't think that that's the right. I don't think that's the right thing to do.
Yeah, I can't be a hypocrite like that. I just can't.
I can't
that's
either.
what disgusts me about most people modern day anyway. Like, well, you know what? Fine, I'll do it. And it's just, no, I can't. I'm not going to.
Now, if they pack the court, in that case, I would pack it back. But
at that point, you know what I mean? At that point, you've now established the rules of engagement.
Yeah. Yeah, but I can't fire that. I can't fire off that nuclear weapon. It's a nuclear option. And I can't I cannot sanction that.
Mm-hmm.
We should pause all immigration immediately. And by the way, Chip,
how long do you think we should pause it for?
Oh, buddy.
I came up with a period of time yesterday, but I'm wondering what period of time you would come up with.
I mean, off the top of my head, I would think at least 10 years, bare minimum. At least.
Right. Well, I was around there. I think my exact words were 2, 3, maybe 35 years.
We were close.
But then we revisit in 2061.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Like maybe we should start having immigrants again.
I mean, I've been wanting to be an isolationist for a while. We've got too much stuff going on here. We're allowing too much stuff to influence us. We're allowing way too many immigrants here. And I'm from and you could say maybe I'm crazy or whatever. I'm from the school of thought that a lot of these immigration laws and things that we have were because we were a fledgling small country trying to fill out its borders with people. Whenever we were doing a lot of this. So we were trying to incentivize people to come to this country. And now, hey, guess what? We've incentivized everybody enough.
Yep.
Enough. All right. The buy one, get one free sell is over.
You know what temporary protected status is?
Vaguely, but
temporary protected status is a creation that came out in the 90s, where we basically said that certain countries that they're dealing with a particular unique crisis of war or inclement weather or whatever, and some plague, some sort of terrible calamity, what they call a force majeure, an act of God. So those folks, so it's up to the president and the secretary, under the secretary of DHS now, to determine that they can be granted temporary protected status, and for 18 months. And every 18 months, it can be extended if the calamity has not been fixed in the foreign country. So it's up to them to basically assess whether or not the calamity has been fixed. And if the calamity has been fixed, in that case, they should cancel TPS. But during that period, we're basically welcoming and not removing anyone from those countries.
Yeah.
Temporary protected status. This came up in a Supreme Court decision that came out a few days ago, where they basically said that, the president and Secretary of State, Secretary of DHS have every right to decide we're canceling it. That's totally in their purview. And the assumption is that it's not a constitutional violation. And so it went all the way up to Supreme Court. Supreme Court said president's got these powers. So, and that got people examining how long have some of these countries had TPS and temporary protected status. And it was talking specifically about Haiti and what was the other one? Some of them, they go back to 2012, 2010. The longest one was 35 years.
Wow.
And that's why, 35 years of temporary protected status. I think that was Somalia, I'm not sure. And that's why I basically said, I think Somalia was the one that had it canceled. So maybe, I'm not sure when Somalia got it. Don't quote me on that being 35 years. I think Somalia and Haiti were the ones who lost it.
People are saying Syria.
Was Syria? Okay. Thank you. Yeah, so the bottom line is that, that's where I came up with the number 35 years. If we can give temporary protected status for 35 years, we can put a pause on immigration for 35 years.
Says, whoa, they said, Chip, you can't get that through the Senate. We have 60 votes. Well, let's keep having that fight too, because the Save America Act is not the actual full nature of the fight. The issue here is whether there is in any way, shape, or form a 60 vote threshold that we have to follow. There is not. The Senate as a body is yes to be a cooling saucer. Yes, as a conservative, I like there to be barriers to quick action for legislation. But under no circumstances does the Constitution or anything else contemplate 60 votes besides rules arbitrarily set by members of the Senate. And here we are at a time where this body, Congress, the House and the Senate together, need to act to protect our nation's sovereignty by allowing only American citizens to vote in American elections, to require voter identification in elections of our federal officials, to, yes, make very clear that subject to the jurisdiction thereof means what it means, and no, we're not going to import people into the United States as long as we're being told, absolutely, you must grant citizenship for any child born here.
So he's basically, the Congress is stepping up immediately and saying we need to basically change here what's and pass legislation to undo this. Rand Paul came out and saying he wants to have a constitutional amendment. That's never going to pass, though, and everyone knows that's just stupid lip service and ridiculous, because we all know that's not going to happen. But seeing as how he brought up the Save America Act, the current plan that Mike Johnson has thrown out there is that they're going to attach it to a reconciliation bill, a spending bill. By attaching the Save America Act to a spending bill, that would now reduce it from being a 60-vote threshold to a 50-vote threshold. So they tried amending one of their spending bills to try and attach it, the defense spending bill. And they said, we're not willing to, and that failed in the House when they said, let's take our defense spending bill and add in Save America to it. And when they tried passing that resolution yesterday, it failed. Here's Mike Johnson talking about his newest plans to try and get Save America in a way that will be palatable and pass muster in the Senate.
We've got 2 or 3 different ideas on how to make the Save America measures fit into the budget reconciliation process. As the name implies, it's got to be reconciling the budget. It's got to be tied to fiscal issues. And one of the ways to do it is to create a grant program to incentivize states to enact election integrity measures. There are other ways as well. We're discussing all those. That is going to be a big component of what we send to the Senate.
Yeah, well, that's it. Spot on. Thank you for all that. So anyway, it's
So what does that mean? What that means is whenever everyone always wants to have the Senate reduced from 60 to 50. And there is an exception that if it's a spending bill, you don't need to have 60 votes, you only need to have 50 votes.
Yeah.
So the way that people try to get around it is they say, well, this is a spending bill, even though it doesn't sound like, when you say Save America, protecting voter integrity, does that sound to you like that's a spending bill? That's about money? No, it doesn't. That's a matter of who can vote, right? That doesn't sound at all like something that has to do with money. But what Mike Johnson is suggesting there is if we say, hey, you folks who have to change your current systems to conform with the Save America Act, we're going to give you millions and millions of dollars and apportion that money in order to enable you to do it. And here we are as Congress authorizing these expenditures. That's how they're hoping that the parliamentarian makes the decision as to whether or not it qualifies as a spending bill, that they can convince the parliamentarian to go along with it and say this is a spending bill. The problem is that the parliamentarian was appointed by Obama. So
yay, good job.
And why she's still there? God only knows. God only knows. Speaker Johnson reveals he's moving past the Save America Act on the reconciliation, which needs 50 votes in the Senate. Fire the parliamentarian or she will strike it down. We've got 2 or 3 different ideas. And one of them is to create a grant program to incentivize states to enact election integrity measures. But the parliamentarian is going to say, I see through it, and this is not a spending bill. So no. That's what's going to happen unless you fire the parliamentarian. Why is the parliamentarian still there? Because John Thune is an a-hole.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so he can. Trump can't directly fire the parliamentarian though. But,
no, the Senate can.
That's what I was about to say. He can urge the Senate to do it though, and John Thune is,
he's pushing them. He's pushing them. Here he is pushing them. How the Republican Senate is not firing the parliamentarian who was appointed by the radical left Senator Harry Reid and Barack Hussein Obama is beyond me. She's been ruling unfairly against Republicans for years. The majority leader, John Thune, has the right to do it immediately. Fire the parliamentarian now.
It's so insane to me. It's so crazy to me that well, no, it's not. These rhinos want it to be business as usual. They want it to go back to what it was when Bush was there and Clinton was there and Obama was there, and they can all get their pork spending pass and they can go, look what I did for my state. I got him a strawberry festival or whatever it is that they want to hang their hat on. And they do not want to actually do the hard work that Trump wants them to do, that we want them to do. Enough is absolutely enough.
And why is she still there? Because John Thune wants her there. Because this way he can say, what can I do? I can't do anything about this. What am I supposed to do? She won't let me.
She's not letting me.
Yeah.
But you can fire her. You have the authority to fire her.
Yep. Tim Walz may be worse after I heard he pardoned child rapists so he couldn't be deported.
Nice. Way to go.
Yeah. I hate the fact they moved Clarence Thomas' face from the cream of wheat box. What the hell is that? That is the most freaking racist thing I've ever heard in the world.
Well, he's a black guy, so he's allowed to say it. Okay, you just gotta let him. You gotta let him rock, man. Take the $5 and say thank you.
Thank you for your $5. Honor and playing by the rules is always used against us by people that have no intention of playing fair when they have power. This is true. This is true, but I still don't want to pack the court. Mike Lee said he'll be removed from any. It will be removed from any reconciliation bill. The parliamentarian will yank it. Thune hides behind her. She's excused exactly as I think she said it right before I was coming out of my mouth. So I know she didn't get it from me. And so she didn't need me to tell her, but I was in the process of saying it when I saw that pop up. Hands One Pack says the new Q is Candace and others like her. What do you think about that?
Yeah, probably. I don't disagree with that point. It's just the fact that QAnon's been brought up three times now, and I haven't heard of, Q in forever. It was just a 4chan. It was a 4chan troll. That's it. Guys would just go in there under the Q and just say things randomly. It was all a troll the entire time. It's so insane that people bought into it. It's so wild. And some people are still political commentators based off of QAnon. I forget the one guy's name. I can't think
it's
of it.
It's the same
right
way
now.
the Proud Boys evolved. It was also a joke. But that's how I'm building a cult. It all starts as a joke.
So it's all just a silly little gaff.
If you really want to be part of the following, you have to donate 5% of your annual earnings to.
Don't do that. Chad, don't do that. Do not do that to Joe. All right. Don't give him that. He doesn't need it. He's fine.
It's just 5%.
It's only 5%.
It's only 5% of net, not gross. Net. Not greedy.
We'll do it with net.
Not greedy.
I'm not going to take the gross cut.
Not greedy. 5% of your net.
It's not that bad. When you think about it, you're really doing me a favor.
It's for personal growth. I mean, if you can't put aside 5% for personal growth, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you.
For personal growth.
I don't just have that new intro. I have a new outro song also.
Do you?
Yes.
You're finally getting an outro.
I'm not getting. I have an outro.
Well, have you got it set so when you hit in stream, it does that thing? Just plays the outro?
I don't have it set out that way, but I just hit the play button on it.
Monster.
Yeah. But anyway, so you can look forward to that.
I'm waiting with bells on.
I hear them ringing. Actually, what the hell is that noise?
That's Cody. That's the corgi. Because I keep a look. I don't know. My mom did it with her corgi.
It's not. Okay. It's not some furry costume you're wearing. It's
no,
the corgi.
It's for the puppy. Because I put
maybe
a
that's
bell
the reason
on him,
you're not on camera is you're wearing a furry costume with the bells on it.
Don't start that rumor. There are people that don't like me that will take that rumor and run with it. No, it's for my puppy.
I always hear the bells there, and I'm like, I was like, what is he wearing that's got bells on it?
He's playing with a bone right now over in his bed. I put a bell on him. So I'm streaming, oh my God!
I picture you like wearing like the Navajo costume with the bells on the bottom and like doing the rain dance.
Okay, well that's better.
Okay,
yeah, that's better.
Or furry.
It's you didn't have to say the second part. Navajo, we could have stopped there. That'd have been fine. Cultural appropriation is acceptable.
Navajo.
It's for the puppy, okay? If he goes to the other side of the house, I can hear him and I can be like, hey, get back over here, buddy. Because I can't look at him the whole time. I got to look at your mug.
Yeah, sounds like Thune is pee-whipped by the parliamentarian. No, he's not. He just pretends he is. He uses it. He hides behind her skirt to do what he wants. Here's 4 suggestions as to what Trump can do right now to remedy the problem with the birthright citizenship.
Message in this ruling, and that is Congress, if you wanted to make it more clear, you could. And how many times have we heard this in the last few years? If Congress only did X, we would be better. The ball is in Congress's place right now. And I think there are 4 things that were set in motion since the ruling yesterday, just in the first 12 hours. Again, Donald Trump not accepting the status quo. One is the Justice Department is going to begin a crackdown on birth tourism businesses. There's no such thing. It shouldn't be allowed. You shouldn't be able to sell citizenship. And you're going to see a Justice Department crackdown. And by the way, states like Florida have birth tourism places just like California. The state of Florida could also unlicense or de-license those businesses. The second thing is there are multiple conversations going on in the House and Senate of what sort of things can be put into a bill that can pass in the Senate with just 51 people. So that means it has to be a financially oriented piece of legislation. Money has to be attached to it. So you could say, going forward, if a state allows someone, pregnant foreigner, to come in pregnant and they allow them to have a birth while they're in the country, they're going to lose their federal funding.
No federal funding if you allow a pregnant woman into your state.
That is... that's radical.
You can do things like that. Now, can you get 51 votes that way? I don't know. But those are the sort of novel ideas.
You're not going to get 51 votes on that.
No,
you're not
not.
going to get Susan Collins or...
Yeah.
Yes, that they're going to do. The third thing they're doing, and this could be the big one that gets the base of the Conservative Party exciting, they're working on stripping down the Save America Act to 2 provisions. Just citizen voting or a citizen voting check, citizenship voting check, and a voter ID. Those two, if tied to a financial provision, meaning funding in elections, can probably get through a 51 vote in the Senate. What did they strip out? They stripped out birthright, citizenship, and women in sports, because those were 2 that were sticking in the parliamentarians' craw. You might be able to get the Save America Act attached to the NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Act, or a omnibus bill. And if you do that and you succeed, you go back in the next few months and you try to do something similar with citizenship. So I keep an eye on that dynamic as well.
So, John, I know we only have about 30 seconds left, but you mentioned the fact that if they can strip those things down and put this through in a bill, what senators are going to have to change their minds? Because I know Collins has been there, Tillis, some people who are just anti-Trump. What balance do you have to flip?
You're at 50 votes right now.
Yeah,
current head count is 50. And J.D. Vance would give you 51 because he can come as a Senate pro temp and vote. So they could get to 51, making sure, provided that no one bolts, right? That's the thing to watch for. The second thing is there's going to be some new information about election security coming out in the next few weeks. And that could change some senators' minds, things that they probably should have known about years ago and they weren't told. I would watch for a dynamic that some hearts and minds might change when new data comes out. That combined with the fact that they got 50 plus J.D. Vance, they're a little more bullish on the idea they're going to get this done for the American people.
So some interesting ideas there, but this one I covered already. I wanted to throw something else at you. This is what Mike Davis has a bunch of suggestions, and we're going to go through them one by one. Okay?
Let's do it.
Several ways forward here, given the choice of Roberts Barrett to nullify the 14th Amendment and extra constitutionality, replace it with their own language. 1, nullification. States issue birth certificates, and they can just stop issuing them to non-citizens. Roberts Barrett can deal with the fallout and litigate each birth individually. 2, back the court. So this one we said we're not doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nullification, I don't know. The problem is you're going to have states that are going to be ignoring us, like, California, New York, et cetera, and all these states where which is where you have your biggest populations of illegals. I don't know nullification to do anything. 3, deny entry to all pregnant foreigners. 4, deny entry to all female foreigners.
What? I mean,
no women.
No women at all.
No women.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
5, require sterilization of all foreign visitors prior to entry.
Sterilize them. That's it.
You want to visit? Snip, snip. Cut the tubes. And it's like, it's not sexist. We cut the tubes of men and women.
Yeah, we just cut both of them. Don't worry about it. Nobody can have it happen. All right?
Yeah.
That would... You know what? Not as radical as I thought.
Not as radical as you thought. 6, dissolution of the union. Nation which
You know what? National divorce. We're done with it. Either you neuter these foreigners or spay your foreigner friend.
Spay the foreigners. don't think that's a good idea?
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I think all of this is going to work out just fine.
I will remind everyone here, we do have a goal up, which is we're going to be celebrating July 4th if we hit our goal, which we're a little bit more than halfway past our goal.
Mhm.
But we're going to need to do some work if we're going to get there, which is that we're going to have an extra hour where we're going to be celebrating July 4th, Sin and I, together with you.
With you.
If we hit that goal, which I'm hopeful that we'll hit. I'm hopeful. But we are down to like another 30 minutes or so. So
Oh, wow.
that was a reminder. Also, I would be remiss and neglectful if I didn't remind you that we have merch now. We have merch. In fact, there's new merch that's gone up there. There's new merch that
Shop looks great.
Thank you. If I hit it again, we got America 250. Look at that. Look at that. Yeah, that's right. We got
That's
glassware
actually
now.
really cool. Okay. Yeah,
Thank
that's real
you.
nice.
Thank you. Yeah, my
And
designer
that's only a
is
limited
great.
time, though.
That is a limited time.
You can
It's
only
limited.
get that for a while. You can't get that forever because next
Yeah,
year.
in a month.
No,
I think in another month I'm gonna just yank this off the shelves.
Oh,
So,
better get it.
yeah, if you want it, you're gonna have to get this soon. So that's the good Lawgic America 250. She said she was inspired from when she saw me wearing shades with you one night to give me the stars and stripes shades.
I think it looks good. I
It
think it's a
is,
great
right?
idea.
I think I look like Boomhauer from King of the Hill, but yeah. Anyway, so you can find links to the to our merch shop in the description, and I urge you to make sure you guys check that out. So this way you don't miss anything. I don't want you to miss anything. In fact, I'm gonna even pin it in the chat just so that I know that you have it, because I don't want you guys to feel anything. In fact, I don't want you to feel that you're being shortchanged here. So let me just throw this up here. We got hats. I got tumblers. I got glasses. We got it all. We got it all. Let me put this up in the ghetto also, so you don't feel like I'm depriving you. Oh, Uzelian already posted it. He already pinned it. Uzelian beat me to the punch. God bless you, brother. All right. We do have other topics we need to cover.
Let's do it.
So I know you never heard of this woman before, but let's start talking about the Democratic Party and what a complete and total clusterfuck they are. We are not living in the same country as the Democratic Party. We're really not. Here's CNN.
You know, among Republicans, 93% are extremely or very proud. Just a single one, say they have little to no pride in being an American. But look over at the Democratic side. This is where we've seen this extremely or very number. It's been taking a tumble at 27%, which is way different than the 93. You do the quick math with me here. What is that? That's a 66-point difference here in terms of extremely or very. But look at this. The little or no proud to be an American actually among Democrats eclipses is greater than the extremely or very proud number. So we are just living in such a different universe if you're a Republican versus a Democrat on the basic fundamental question of being proud to be an American. You know,
No, that's why they shouldn't be allowed to vote. Sorry. Yeah, so that's where they're at. And that explains why there's a rise of socialism. That Schiff seems to just have his head up his butt as to what is coming.
Well, it fits so nicely up there. I mean, where else are you going to put it? On his shoulders? Why would he do that? It could be used up there.
Last week, I notified you when Sin was here. I told him and you about the 3 members of the House who won, socialist members of the House who won primaries at the urging and pushing of Zoran Mamdani.
Yeah, way to go, Zoran. You did it, bro.
So he got 3 New York socialists to basically replace their Democrat counterparts. Yesterday, there was another one who took over for a long-term Democrat, an incumbent 15 times. She's been there 30 years. Lost to an immigrant socialist.
We've heard about Daria Liza Avila Chevalier, who is a Democratic Socialist who won. Some of her tweets have come to light some of her older tweets, since deleted a Twitter account where she has sympathetic references to communism, talks about a Marxist ideology, talks about seizing the means of production, abolish police, prisons, and borders, wiping her hands on a U.S. flag. She now says, quote, I have grown considerably in the years since these tweets, and I'm focused on our community and our community's future, which is not exactly disowning. But
she's not disowning at all. She's just says, I'm even worse now. That's what she's saying. I'm much worse than that.
Comments. What do you make of these comments and the fact that this is a growing brand of the Democratic Party?
Well, I wouldn't say that those comments are reflective of a growing brand in the party. I understand that she's advocated closing all prisons, defunding police departments, opening borders. None of those views are within the mainstream of the Democratic Party. Now, what went on in her...
She's probably going to be a member of Congress, though.
She will, at this point, having won the primary, probably be a member of Congress. That doesn't mean that she's reflective of the whole party. You also saw some very centrist wins in primaries. We had a centrist win in Iowa in the primary. We had centrist win in the governor's races in New Jersey and Virginia. All that's to say it's hard to extrapolate from one campaign or even three in New York City and say this is a nationwide trend. But I will say this, it is reflective, among other things, of the power of Mamdani, of Mayor Mamdani. I think he is incredibly charismatic leader. I think he is inspiring New Yorkers and winning people over and has enormous clout in New York. There was a lot of fear when AOC first ran for office that she was going to be this dangerous influence. She's been a great member of Congress. She's been articulate and forceful and made a profound case for change.
Articulate?
So I'm not afraid of new members or new ideas in the party. I welcome it.
So you're welcoming socialism. He doesn't want to say it. He's like, it's not who we are, but I'm welcoming socialists. I mean, that's what he's basically saying.
Good job.
They are capitulating to the socialists. That's what they're telling you. And this is the newest one. She won yesterday her primary. In fact, let me introduce you to first. Democrat socialist Malat Kiros vows to take the fight to Donald Trump after ousting a 15-term incumbent. You know how old this chick is?
No, I have no idea.
29. When she was born, her opponent was already in Congress. 15 times she won. She's been there 30 years. So that woman was in Congress since before Malat Kiros was born. A 29-year-old Democrat socialist, Malat Kiros, ousted one of Congress's longest-serving Democrats on Tuesday night in a primary blow to the party establishment as voters continue to embrace younger insurgent candidates who want to reshape the party. Representative Diana DeGette, who was represented Denver in Congress since 1997, coincidentally the year Kiros arrived in the U.S. from Ethiopia, where she was born, was defeated in a stunning upset in Colorado's safely blue first congressional district. The win practically clears the way for Kiros' election to the House in November. Kiros' victory follows a string of recent wins by left-wing candidates over Democratic incumbents in New York, underscoring a growing momentum for candidates campaigning a more confrontational approach to President Donald Trump and the party establishment. Kiros entered politics after being fired by a New York law firm when she refused to remove a blog post defending law students accused of anti-Semitism over protests following Hamas's October 7th attack on Israel. Her campaign won backing from Senator Bernie Sanders because he hates the fact that he's Jewish, the Democratic Socialists of America, and Justice Democrats. She made opposition to U.S. support for Israel's war in Gaza a central campaign issue, accusing Israel of committing genocide and calling for American arms embargo. That's who the party is. This is who the Democratic Party is becoming. You want to see how pathetic. Just watch this.
You want to see? Yeah, just I'm going to make you watch it anyway. Why even ask? Joe, why are you asking me?
I don't know.
I'm Malat Kiros, and tonight, this victory belongs to every single one of you.
Yeah, that's what she says today. This is not the pathetic part.
mean,
if we organize and show no fear in standing up for what's right, that is the message that Denver has sent to both parties, to Donald Trump, and to the entire country.
calm down, ma'am. You're not that tough.
Meanwhile, this was her opponent. Representative Diana DeGette.
Diana DeGette, everybody. She's been out here for us for a long time. Thank you.
So you embarrass yourself. You make a jackass out of yourself. You make a clown out of yourself driving in the clown car with as many clowns as many they them clowns as you can find, screaming "Happy Pride, everyone! Happy Pride!" And you get humiliated by some 29-year-old Ethiopian chick who came in here basically because she said,
I was about to ask, is she Ethiopian or Indian? Because like
He said
you
said
could tell she was
Ethiopian.
fighting a bit of an accent there, and I couldn't tell if it was like, "Hello, thank you, we won today," or what. I was curious. So,
well, this what a humiliating display this is. Driving in, like, look at this clown car
I think
filled
she
with
did fine.
a whole bunch of
okay.
they thems,
Uh-huh.
and she ends up getting humiliated in a loss to an Ethiopian who, as I said, she hasn't even been on Earth as long as this woman's been in Congress. No one ever heard of Diana DeGette, which is probably part of the reason, because all she does is drive down her stupid Denver streets screaming "Happy Pride" and having they thems come up and saying what a great advocate she's been.
Oh my God, she's been doing so much work for us for a long time. Seriously, that's You didn't like the accent. I'm trying to jazz your show up a little bit, Joe. Bring a little spark to it, like that car right there. I think your show is more like that car than what you realize. All right, I'm just trying to make it feel that way. Diane DeGette sat there and was like, "Hi, hi," and that lady's out there screaming. Hey, I don't know. They're both terrible. They're terrible people, Joe. What?
I think that this chick is just self-flagellating. I think that's what she's doing
Is
here.
that what she's doing?
And they screamed Diana DeGette and like no response. And it was like, oh.
And that's from they're from Denver, right?
Yeah, this is in Denver.
I mean, Google the gay population in Denver.
For her service and her fight for reproductive freedom, she helped build a community that welcomed my family to this city and to this district, and I'll always be grateful for that.
Yeah, that feels nefarious. You did this to yourself, Diane.
You did. You did.
because of what you wanted. This is what. Oh wow, there's not a major LGBTQ population in Denver. Not as big as I thought it would be.
No, they
like
all
4%.
Right. No, well, their numbers in general are not nearly as big as people think they are.
Yeah. So you're sitting out there and you're trying to parade yourself around to a community that if all of them voted for you, probably wouldn't have won anyway.
No, that's not what you're appealing to. You're not appealing to them. That's not. This is just. I don't know how short you are that this so easily went over your head.
Jesus Christ! What? Why? What? I haven't made a single Jew joke tonight. What are you doing, Joe?
You just called my show old.
I didn't say old. I don't say
no.
gay.
That's what you did.
I was calling your show gay. Is what I was doing.
Well, you're not
I need
here.
you to do more jazz hands.
You're not here every day. So the point that I was getting at was that this is not about getting those 4% to vote for you. No.
It was virtue signaling.
It's appealing to those who are insecure that that society deems them to be good people, which is 4%. That's probably like 70% of people. That you can show what a good person you are, that you're standing up for these oppressed individuals.
Yeah, gay people aren't oppressed anymore, Diane. Sorry.
Yeah, well, so now it's trans. That's why you need freshly oppressed people.
Yeah, but there's only like
always need more freshly
it's
oppressed.
there's only like 30 of those in the city, and we know the percentage on that. It's close.
But
to
if you can
50%.
say, "Yay, go you! I'm so proud of you," everyone can know what a great person you are. That's what their appeal. That's what the appeal for all these clowns over here.
It's virtue signaling.
They're all virtue signaling that, like, this is what's right. This is what's just. It's like, just stop it. Just stop.
Yeah, while the other girl is out there screaming about policy. You may not like the policy. We may not agree with it, but at least she's out there screaming. I guarantee you, she was out there screaming about policy instead of going, 100%. I love the gays. Look at me. So
yeah, it's
aren't I so good for riding in this car? No,
it's a more effective approach. MS Now reporting, just so we can appreciate the numbers here. Democrat Socialists are winning. Their ambitions don't stop at Capitol Hill. A string of Democratic primary wins capped by Tuesday's defeat of Representative Diane DeGette, as the DSA eyeing further gains and its leaders say the presidency. A year ago, Democratic Socialists of America had 2 members in Congress. After Tuesday, they're on track to have at least 5, and their leaders are aiming higher still. The group's newest triumph came in Denver, where Millette Quiros, a 29-year-old Democratic Socialist, toppled Democratic Representative Diana DeGette, who has represented Colorado's 1st congressional district since 1997. It's the latest in a run of Democratic primary upsets that has the DSA eyeing further gains this fall, and its leaders say a competitive run at the White House in 2028. That sounds kind of ridiculous, but Quiros is one of several DSA-backed insurgents to win Democratic primaries in the last several weeks, among them Daria-Liza Villa-Chevalier and Claire Valdez, who prevailed in 2 heavily Democratic seats in New York, enough to more than double the group's presence in a chamber where Representatives AOC and Rashida Tlaib of Michigan are its only current members. The ranks could grow again August 4th when former Representative Cori Bush, also a Democratic Socialist, tries to reclaim the St. Louis area she lost in 2024. Public polling in her rematch against Representative Leslie Bell is scant, so we don't know how she's going to do. Megan Romer, a national DSA co-chair, predicted newcomers would change how the chamber operates. You're going to see some real fighters in there who are really ready to go to bat for making sure that things are best as they can be, as opposed to jumping straight to the sort of milquetoast compromise that benefits the ultra wealthy. So they're very, very excited now, and for good reason. They're having more success than they ever had. Socialism is taking a foothold in this country in ways it's never had before.
Yeah, how long before we have a actual socialist running for president?
When you say running for president, you mean a party nomination, or you mean?
Yeah, how long before they have enough people in the Democratic Party to force who they want to run?
I don't know.
Numbers like this,
I don't know.
I mean, how many we got now so far? You just said the number. It was 3 in New York, 1 in Colorado.
We're looking potentially at 5. And maybe even a 6th if Cori Bush gets in.
Yeah.
Here is Stephen A. Smith, who normally talks sports, but sometimes ventures into politics. And he's a Democrat.
Yeah.
He calls himself a Democrat, but he's a Democrat with his eyes open. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he's someone who can talk sense. You know what this guy makes, by the way?
A year?
Yeah.
It was a big hubbub a while back.
He talks sports. It was a big hubbub because he became the highest paid sports talking broadcaster in the world. He makes $20 million a year under contract. Yeah.
It's a lot of dough.
And when I heard about this, I said, power to you, brother. Power to you. God bless. Go get that bag. Go get it. Because, he offers uniquely compelling commentary in it being controversial and engaging. And he's got a lot of charisma, as you're about to hear.
Because I got questions. Where has socialism ever succeeded? If so, tell us where that is. How is it going to succeed in New York? How are you going to sell that in a capitalistic society? You might do it in New York with young voters. What about the people in the suburbs? What about them? You really, really think this kind of message is going to resonate with them? Because, ladies and gentlemen, what we're talking about here is this. If it resonates within the Democratic Party, but it doesn't have a snowball's chance of resonating in a general election, then you're basically handing the presidency to the GOP in 2028 as well.
All right, so let me explain this real quick, and then we're going to move on to a super chat. We got a super chat from Poppy Shampoo. So let me just explain this real quick. They don't care that the community at large isn't accepting socialism. It's a boiling pot theory. They warm you up with it. They trick you into it because they have a plan that later on it will be more accepted. They are not trying to win. They're trying to indoctrinate you and get you comfortable with the reality of stupidity. And over time, the stupid generation that's willing to select Mamdani or elect Mamdani as the mayor will be stupid enough to elect another socialist as the president of the United States of America. And then we're going to have to crumble as a country. And then they're going to be praying to God that we get another capitalist in. That's what's going to happen.
He's right. And that's why the failure of New York is something that we should say is a necessary thing. It's a necessary thing because people need to see what a complete and total disaster this stuff is.
Agreed.
Richard says my 11-ounce cup comes in 7 to 10. 15-ounce was too large. Because my cup is 16. Do you see where Mamdani posted turned thermostats up to 78 degrees and the Olympic-sized public pools will be open for an extra half hour per day? It's voluntary for now. How many have smart thermostats? 78 degrees.
Yeah, I got an old school thermostat. I'm gonna find an even older one, a mechanical one. Put that bad boy in.
It's funny because I actually was shopping for new AC like an hour before the show because this one here feels like it's on its last legs. And we're in the middle of a massive heat wave here in Jersey.
Yeah, I feel like my AC hasn't been off in 2 weeks now. My power bill is going to be ridiculous.
Yeah. So, Meter the Long E says Dems are just as dangerous. Social is nothing to play with. She's right.
True.
It's plain arrogance to think that their form of socialism is going to work when it never has in the past, and it's willfully ignorant who put them in power. Yeah. Here's the thing. We sort of need to bear this in mind. If you look at them, if you want to understand the mindset of these young socialists, consider the atheist in the foxhole. They feel as if economically they're taking all the bullets and that they're under fire and the current system is not working for them. And when you have folks like that, so much like an atheist, which the phrase "there's no such thing as an atheist in a foxhole" is kind of stupid because it doesn't mean that they at root believes in it, in God, right? It means that if you're desperate enough, you'll latch on to anything, even if you don't believe in it at heart. So too, that's how socialism has an opportunity to flourish in this country, is that or democratic socialism, whatever they want to call themselves, which Democrat means evil. So it really means evil socialism. But yeah, the idea that it's basically they feel like they're the atheist in the foxhole. They don't know that socialism is going to work for them. But what's working now isn't. What the system we have now isn't. So let's try a change and see how that works. They have no idea the level of carnage they're bringing upon themselves, because they're the ones who are going to be the crying about the ills of socialism. God forbid if we became a socialist country, these are the very people who will be suffering the most for it. These same jackasses who are cheering 29-year-old Miloš Kiros, whatever, they are the ones who in 25 years will be dreading this far more, because let's face it, I mean, they'll be under the thumb of socialism and the tyranny of socialism, and looking at America as being a disastrous country to live in, and feeling deep regret about it. Now that's cold comfort for those of us who have sufficient foresight to recognize the dangers of socialism. But the reason they're going that way is because we can't just tell them socialism is bad. We can't even show them other countries and say socialism is bad. You need to give solutions, real solutions to real problems. And ultimately, whatever people feel about gays, trans, whatever they feel about Israel, or whatever they're told to feel about all these different things, none of that cuts the mustard the way your monthly bills do.
Mm-hmm.
You need to have something that they feel hope, that they can feel they can see a way that they will have actual success for themselves. And that's how you win hearts and minds. But you have them saddled with their stupid college debt and their ridiculous degrees. And the system, the American system that we always had worked. It's been co-opted so that it's in its current form, it doesn't work. Young people feel as if they have no opportunity and will never own property. So you already feel like you're a slave to the system. So a threat of, if you're a socialist, you're gonna be a slave to the system, is not a threat to them, because they don't realize how much worse a slave they become, but they already feel like they're a slave to the system. So once they feel like they're a slave to the system, how am I? It's like someone calling you a racist. I don't worry about you calling me a racist anymore, because I've had so many people calling it. So too, if I tell you that you're going to be a slave to the system under socialism, they're like, maybe, but I know I'm already a slave to the system.
Yeah, so, you gotta break their way of thinking then. And how do you do that?
You have to buy my book to know.
To buy your book to understand. I got to read your manifesto.
My manifesto will spell it out. Yeah, and a large part of it comes with breaking the education system down.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that the steps taken to restrict corporations from buying up property are important.
Yep.
I think property taxes have gone through the roof across the country.
Mm-hmm.
The states have been so desperate to try and finance themselves that they've basically been terrorizing landowners. I pay now 4 times what I paid when I moved into this house 20 years ago. I mean, that's ridiculous. That's insane. So,
yeah,
I feel this. How do you get a mortgage when that's what your property taxes? That's not anything. That's just me paying the state.
People don't. That's the problem. And so, like, when capitalism doesn't work for you, and you go, well, I'm already having to pay for everything anyway. Like you said, I'm already a slave to the system. How can you have to? Capitalism is going to have to, and conservatism is going to have to start showing the value of these systems that are in play, right? You have to be able to have something. You have to. Just having a car that's really nice and renting an apartment is not the end all be all, and it shouldn't be. I've got a friend who we were having a conversation the other day. He paid, and then granted, the murder cabin is off in the woods, right? It's in a very rural area, low, home prices are dirt cheap around here. But he paid as much for his brand new truck as I did for my home with 5 acres.
Ridiculous.
And he's having to rent because of where he lives. Because where he lives, the state that he lives in, a full-time job, his wife having a full-time job, he cannot afford to buy a house.
It's
but
impossible.
His car is the same price as my property. It is insane to me. But he's like, yeah, I really like my truck. And I'm like, yeah, I really like the murder cabin, bro. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's so dumb. It's so dumb. It's such a dumb waste of money.
Mm-hmm. But he has no choice, right? He grew up there. He planted roots there. He's got a family there. His kids go to school there. All that good stuff. What is he going to do other than be able to afford? He's going to try to start a business, but the regulations in the state are so ridiculous. who knows if he'll be able to make that business a success?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They put nothing but red tape and roadblocks in front of him left and right. So I know for a fact this guy's truck payment is more than my mortgage because my mortgage is dirt cheap. I got a really good mortgage and interest rate on this bad boy. I'm so happy. But yeah, no, like those things, we have to figure out how to stop this and allow people, because there's another thing too that people don't understand. And I've owned several houses now. Once you own your first house, there's something that clicks, at least in a man's brain, to where you go, oh, that's what all this is about. That's what it is. And then you go, I want more.
Yeah.
And then you can really start planting roots and start doing something. So.
Be like sin.
Try to anyway.
Imagine if he was tall.
I don't need to be. God grows things until they're the perfect size. It just takes you guys longer. All right.
So all this rise of socialism and Democratic Party really puts the establishment Democrats in a bit of a bind. And Massey has actually put them in a greater bind. How has he done that?
Yeah, I was about to say, how'd Massey do this?
Democrats are expected to split over Massey's amendment on Israel funding. Massey put out a proposal that we should stop giving our $3.3 billion to Israel. And Democrats don't know what to do with this because they know that so many young people want them to support his proposal. And establishment Democrats have traditionally supported Israel, and they would want them to reject the Massey proposal. So House Democrats are expected to split this week over an amendment Kentucky GOP Representative Thomas Massey introduced that seeks to cut federal funding for Israel, showcasing a divide in the party over U.S. relations with the country. This is where you're seeing Democrats, they are traditionally always in lockstep with each other, way more than the Republicans. They invariably end up going off and just basically voting as a block. And on this one, they don't know what to do. They're like, they don't want to have to take sides, and Massey is forcing them to take sides. Massey tacked the amendment to a National Security and State Department spending bill that is expected to come up for a vote this week. The amendment claims none of the funds of the bill will be available for Israel and lowers spending on the bill by $3.3 billion. House Democrat leadership is urging members of his caucus to vote their conscience on the amendment, declining to take a hard stance on legislation, according to the Hill. And even that is something that Democrats, a lot of the money that's coming from Jewish Democrats are Jewish Democrats who support the state of Israel. So that's why they're like, you know, the growing socialist wing of our party is very staunchly anti-Israel, and the socialist Jews who basically have been backbone of the Democratic Party for God knows how many decades, they're not going to be happy about Democrats who are voting for this. So now Massey is forcing them to take a choice. Mississippi Democratic Representative Benny Thompson expressed shock at recent conversations surrounding Israel at a recent caucus meeting and said conversations centered around Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's leadership and the increasingly negative views of Netanyahu among young Democratic voters. Quote, "I've been around a long time. I've never seen it," Thompson said. Thompson also noted that arguments centered around whether to cut funding for Israel off now or whether to take a more diplomatic approach and continue with some conversation. The legislation will help emphasize a stark difference between some Democratic lawmakers, where progressive Democrats are often critical of Israel, while centrist Democrats tend to be more supportive of the Jewish state. The vote could also place a target on the back of some lawmakers after a Pew survey conducted in March and published in April found that 80% of Democrats and left-leaning independents had an unfavorable view of Israel, up from 69% in 2025 and 53%. But the reality is the other 20% is the one who's financing the Democrats. So California Democrat Representative Sarah Jacobs attempted to downplay her party split, stating that there are reasonable sorts of reasons that her colleagues would vote for or against the amendment. We all agreed that however people vote, we are all on the same team, she added. So they are dealing with this split in a really, if you're a Democrat, what the hell do you do when you're like, your money is telling you to to stand with Israel, and the base is more and more staunchly pushing you to turn against Israel. Like, what do you do?
I get the base to give me more money, and then I throw Israel into the sea. I mean, but that's your only option because Israel's not going to vote for you.
Think about this.
Mm-hmm.
Think about this situation.
All right, I'm leaned in too, like you are. Okay.
Are you? We're
Yeah.
both leaned in.
We're both leaned in.
Please do not turn your camera on because this would look really like very uncomfortable.
I broke my camera and my face did. Don't worry about it.
Okay. So you're sort of, when you want to consider, you said get more money from the anti-Israel division.
Yeah, that's what you're going to have to do.
Yeah. Okay. So do you want to know, have you ever looked at, IRS total amounts of monies that come in?
No, I can't say I have.
Yeah, as like whether it's coming from like rich people or not. Like the top 10%.
Yeah.
They're covering 90%. We're like 95%. I think the bottom 50% collectively pay 1% of what our overall IRS revenues are. Those are the people you're saying should match financially to support the Democratic Party.
Rob those guys.
They don't have the money. They don't
rob
have the capacity to
the
do
rich
it.
guys. Give it to the politicians. Problem solved. No more money to Israel.
Look, I said a long time ago, I said this well over a year ago, Israel would be smart if they stopped taking that freaking money.
Yeah, they would be.
They'd be very,
It
very
really
smart if
does
they
make a
stopped taking
lot
the
of
money.
people. It makes a lot of people like turn their head sideways and go, "Why? Why are we doing this? Wait, guys, you know that we helped you in that massive war. The guy with the funny mustache, like we helped you guys get what you wanted forever. If it wasn't for us, Great Britain would have not been able to do that because, well, they wouldn't exist anymore. You do understand this?
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. What would you do as a politician? Buy my book. I'll tell you in there.
Buy my book. Get to know me. So here's Democrats dealing with the whole rich people in their party situation.
Good job.
My line is they should not be billionaires.
I don't think that we should have billionaires.
You are a billionaire whose net worth Forbes puts at $4.3 billion. What do you make of Democrats in your party as we lead up to 2026 and the midterm elections in 2028 who rail against the billionaire class in your party?
I completely
basically saying you suck.
Understand when people feel like looking at Elon Musk and what he's done to this country and, with Doge and all the things that he blurts out on his own platform on X, when people look at what the other kind of oligarch big tech types have done, right? Those are the examples that people have now of billionaires. Look at Donald Trump and the way he has treated working class and middle class people. The fact is that I understand why people feel as they do, but I think it's much more about the values that you carry and then carry out. And as somebody who has stood up for a workers' rights amendment and got it passed in the state of Illinois, who's stood up for LGBTQ and reproductive rights, somebody who's legalized cannabis, somebody who's raised the minimum wage in my state for people from $8.25 to $15, I think it's about what do you stand for and what do you actually accomplish for people, not how much money you have.
Yeah. So basically, all other billionaires are bad. Me good.
I think so. You know what? That makes sense. Good job, buddy.
Me good. All others bad. That's his take there. But as far as the impact that these socialists have potentially on the election, so here's Ari Fleischer and Mark Meadows weighing in as to how this could have the fact that there's so many of these socialists have won their primaries could have a ripple effect across the country in how folks are voting, as they were on the Ingram angle giving their thoughts on this.
The energy in the Democrat Party, obviously, is with these new socialists, communists, Bolsheviks, Jacobins, whatever you want to call them. But will a socialist in Denver think Democrats change?
What? You don't like the term Jacobin?
No, it's just that she just like threw all of them out there. It's like, all right, but we get it. Ma'am, calm down. We get it. They suck. Okay.
Yeah. So she's saying, okay, fine. Is this going to affect things for them in other races?
Chances in a place like Pennsylvania? Ari.
Laura, you nailed it. This is giving Republicans a huge issue that they can run on this year because they need to turn this race from the historical trend of Republicans or the party in power doesn't do well in a midterm cycle into a referendum on just how bad the Democrats are and how risky it would be. And the ideas you walk people through are the perfect illustrations of those risks. So this is a chance, not only in those states where there are close Senate races where somebody's running against the obvious socialist, Graham Plattner in Maine, for example, called himself a socialist and a communist. But it's a chance for Republicans in other close races across the country to say to people who aren't socialists, what did you do to stand up to the socialists in your party? You sat there silent. You never said a word, and now you're going to caucus with those people. This is a huge ball on the tee for Republicans to whack, and they need it. It's going to be a 50-50 race in both the House and the Senate. Everything's up for grabs. This is a blessing for Republicans to beat these people.
And I think he might be right. It's definitely something that you're going to see a lot of ads about this come September, October, about how the Democrats are going full-blown Marxists on us and not even trying to hide. They used to try to hide it and say, no, we're not socialists. No, we're not socialists. Even Adam Schiff today is saying, no, it's not really what we're about. But they're being exposed that they are socialists. And the question is whether their normal base is going to be comfortable with that. And I think that a lot of them may not be. However, ultimately, when it comes to every election cycle, it's always about the economy. Always about the economy.
Mm-hmm.
The economy is healthy during the 2 or 3 months leading up to the election. The party in power will do well. And if it's not, they get butchered.
Do you think that the radical Democrats are trying to push these people through because the economy's not doing that great right now? It's doing better. Gas prices are coming down, things like that. Like it cost me way less to go to the beach last week than what it normally would. But it's still, people are still struggling. Like my grocery bill is still way high. My power bill is still way high. My cell phone bill jumped up randomly for no reason. Thanks cell phone company. They're like, hey, we're just tacking on an extra $30. And they do that every time we're having like a bad economy. But so do you think that these socialists that are in the Democratic Party tried to squeeze these people in, hoping that they could get them in under the radar, and there wasn't that the economy is bad enough that the Republicans, conservatives could not win off of? Well, look at all the socialists they're bringing in.
I think that the rough state of the economy definitely gave an opening. You can't. There's no way that anyone who's assessing this fairly wouldn't say that. Of course, and that's essentially what I was. You're leaning into what I was saying earlier. Mm-hmm. That if more people feel as if there's a desperation, an economic desperation, the more they're willing to just they become the atheist in the foxhole and feeling like let's just try something else. Mm-hmm. So the success of the socialists, yes, 100%. It has a lot to do with the state of the economy. And the question is what the state of the economy is going to be come August, September. Because that's when people will be, thinking about who they're voting for. Yeah. And if you can make it healthy, that when they're paying their bills in August, it feels early. And let's face it, today's July 1st. So we need the economy right now to be juicing. We need the economy juicing this summer.
Yeah, because if we can do that right now over the next, 2.5 months before we really are going to be in some trouble. If we can do that right now, then this is what we run on.
Yeah.
It's exactly what you run on. Look, we turned it around in a couple months. Look, everything's good. Bring down groceries, bring down gas prices, all these good things. And
get the F out of Iran. Because oh my God, it's July. We're still in Iran.
Well, I told you this back in February. I called it. One of these days, Joe, you're going to stop writing that manifesto and listen to me and join my cult, because what I do is a cult. Okay.
I don't have a cult. It's not at all a cult.
I do though, and I'm telling you, this guy's selling you a bag of lies.
They stopped building starter homes too. They need to incentivize building 1 and 2 bedroom homes again. Stopping BlackRock from buying all homes will help. That I agree with. Bring back shame. McCarthy did nothing wrong. He's right. They screamed about McCarthy in the 50s. Everything he did was spot on accurate. Just saying, a little McCarthyism never hurt anything. He was once to clarify in case you thought you were talking about the former speaker. I knew you meant 1950s McCarthy, not John McCarthy from Kevin McCarthy. So I missed a bunch of chats earlier. I apologize. I want a bunch of rants. G. Fonte says Nancy Pelosi's appropriation bill with plus 2K pages and had her famed quote, "You have to pass it to find out what's in it," was a spending bill with laws we couldn't imagine exist included. It's true.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
And Hands on Peck says Joe needs 5% from the following to get the Shriners off his lawn. That's pretty funny. And Hands One Pack said if only Republicans could have something to run on, like a record of getting things done, like the SAVE Act. Oh yeah, they're a bunch of do-nothings. Sadly, that's true. Unfortunately, tonight, we did not seem to hit the goal, much to my surprise. But that is the reality of the situation. It's a sad truth. We didn't hit the goal. That's okay. That is okay. I was actually, he said he gave me a whole be right back when I'm like thinking, I'm already thinking about where the plane is landing, and he's giving me the whole be right back. I don't know what's going on here. What the hell is happening? What's he doing? Plane's supposed to be coming down, and you're sitting here giving me a whole be right back? That's not responsible. That's not how you do it. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. All right. Well, I will tell you, as much as I ride this guy, why do you have to make it like that?
Wait, no, you were about to be nice, and that's why I was giggling, and then I just realized what you said. Go ahead.
You should probably sub up to him. So, why don't you tell people who you are and give me a link so I can actually put it in my...
Oh, yeah. I am a Stimulated Cynic. Everybody calls me Sin. I do a show that normally would be covering all kinds of topics, but lately we've been embroiled with a couple of crazy people trying to attack my community on FFS Cast. It's a very fun group of guys that I do a show with every Friday through Monday, and then sometimes we throw in an extra show on like a Tuesday or a Thursday. And it's a lot of fun. A lot of you guys have been coming over there, and I truly appreciate it. If you need the lore for what we're covering, we have made documentaries so you can catch up on it. They are very fun, and they are made by my talented friend, the 90s Router. So put that in the chat, and then I'll send you this so you can pin it. But I would love if you guys came over there and,
So check the description so you know where to find this guy. Please make sure you click the link and like and subscribe. As I said, I have an outro song.
I'm excited for it.
You should be. You should be. So I will tell you all, God willing, tomorrow evening, I will be back here yet again, sharing you my thoughts about the world. And I'm going to urge you to remember while you're gone that Lab Meat was never meant for you. It was meant for they, them. That's his Dom voice. Go sub.
It is my Dom voice. Don't you worry about it, guys.
What does that mean?
People say I put on a fake voice. Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know if that's a furry thing or whatever.
It's not
Lab
a
Meat
furry
was meant for they, them. It's not meant for you. Lab Meat was meant for they, them, not for you.
Mm-hmm.
So please make sure that you stay away from the Lab Meats. And
I guess I'm
hit
they,
your
them.
like, subscribe, and all that other stuff. And yeah, do not eat the bugs. Don't do it. It's never meant for you. Just don't. Good night. Godspeed.
Bye.
The plane is landing. The show is almost over. All that's left for you is this song. Joe left the studio. He's probably drinking Diet Mountain Dew. Maybe he's watching funny videos on YouTube, or playing chess, or doing Jewy things Jews do. We hope you had fun, and maybe you learned something. You hit like and you subscribe. Leave a comment if you want to show some love. That would be cool. You can be cool. Leaving comments is cool. So till next time, please be sure to stay away from lab meat. It was never meant for you. It's meant for they or them or comrades, sparkle hugs. And most importantly, do not eat Z-bugs. Good night and Godspeed. Good night and Godspeed.